Thank you so much for coming again and accepting the invite to be here,
Yeah.
Dumi. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
It's an absolute pleasure to be with you, Harris. Thank you. And to our listeners and the rest of the team behind the scenes, thank you. Thank you for this work that we're doing for humanity.
Thank you. Thank you. So what's new? What's happening, Dumi, these days? What about your engagements? And tell us a little bit about you. Where have you reached in your
For
journey?
me, I think what's going on is noticing seasonal changes right now. That's top of mind for me because I do a lot of work on the land. I grow food, I grow vegetables, I grow all kinds of things. So I'm noticing change in the southern hemisphere right now, in South Africa, southern tip of the African continent. It's springtime.
Mm,
So we just came out of a winter that wasn't that cold, and we're getting into spring. We're in spring now, getting ready for summer. So we're hoping for rains, good rains.
mm,
And the seasonal shifts are not as vivid, as clear as they used to before.
mm,
So wondering what's going on in that. Besides nature and natural seasonal changes and shifts, what I'm noticing is a focus on wellness for leaders and executives in corporates, in major corporations, in the diplomatic world, in governments, nonprofits, other spaces, that more and more people are interested in their well-being, not just
mm,
what they eat and how they take care of themselves and sleep and all that, but just overall health and well-being.
mm.
And it's an important part that we need to pay attention to as coaches who coach leaders around the world. That's a subject for me that's very, very important.
Yeah. And tell me a little bit more about this subject. So what's happening in your practice at the moment?
In my business, I'm getting a number of requests, and one of them actually yesterday from a major financial institution to come and support their executive team around how to engage safely and freely with each other.
Mm,
So how to talk with each other in a way
mm,
that others can listen and actually hear you, and
mm,
not to chase numbers, but
mm,
more to chase connection.
mm,
And when I was asked to come do that, and they said someone had read my book on
mm,
Ubuntu coaching and connection practices, and they
mm.
wanted me to speak to that,
Uh,
especially the one on chapter. There's a chapter 8 around how to self-reflect, how to do deeper work on yourself. To say
uh,
it's called the 7 self-reflection questions that I put in chapter 8 of my book on Ubuntu coaching and connection practices. And someone had read that and said, please come and help our executives do some work on this on themselves.
mm,
And that was fascinating that someone was interested in that in a
mm,
major financial institution. I did not think that they would be looking at, and this is in another country, not in South Africa, but in the region. And
mm,
so I'm going to be working with them on that, on how can you look in the mirror and find ways to
mm,
explore how to be of service, not just to yourself and your immediate team, but to your organization and to the stakeholders that your business as a whole
mm,
serves, which is
mm.
it's a powerful position to be in. So I'm looking forward to working with that executive team.
And I think that's really a reflective conversation that they want to develop and kind of encourage in culture in the organization.
Yeah, yeah,
So tell me, you said that there are 7 questions to ask.
yeah,
Can
yes.
we get
They
few of them, if not seven?
I'm going to share these. This is something very close to my heart, because I use it quite a lot with executives, CEOs, directors, and people that serve on boards that I work with. These 7 self-reflection questions
Hmm.
are there to help us look at ourselves more closely on where we are at and where we need to go. One of the questions, or the first one in that, is called self-reflection question number 1, or SRQ.
Hmm.
It's who am I?
Mm,
That's the first question. And one of my clients, a leader, a CEO, founder of a business, who said to me, I am light and love, in
Mm.
motion and impacting my world with every encounter. I'm like, whoa, that just blew me away. I thought you'd say I'm a mother, I'm a CEO, but they it went to altogether to another level to say I am light and love in motion, impacting my world with every encounter, and went on to say I shine a, a safe, gentle light in the
Mm.
dark corners of human consciousness.
Mm.
Like, okay, that went deep very fast. But the point of
Yeah.
that is understanding who we are.
Right.
Am I this body? Am I this soul? Am I consciousness? When we
Mm.
read some of the ancients and wise ones around who we are as human beings, you get to understand we are more than we think we are.
Mm. Mm.
And so this is why I'm very interested in human connection at a profound level, understanding who we are and how we show up in our shared world in this
Right.
very short lifespan that we have as
Right.
human beings. So I'm very interested in that. So question one, self-reflection question one is, who am I?
Yeah.
Beyond the roles I play,
Yeah.
beyond the roles I play in my work, in my
Mm.
practice, in my if you have a job, in my job or in my business, who am I at home
Yeah.
as a father, as a man, as a husband, as a brother, as an uncle, as an elder in my community?
Mm.
Who am I? I'm a
Yeah.
reference point for others. I'm a mentor to others.
Mm.
I'm a leader. An executive coach, a leader. I'm a trainer. I lead organizations. I lead businesses. I help organizations find their soul through
Yeah.
the connections among their leaders and
Mm.
between their leaders and their teams
Mm.
and across departments or divisions. I help them
Mm.
find the core of what makes them them,
Mm.
what makes that brand that
Mm.
brand. Very important to understand. So that these questions are not just for individuals. They can also be applied at organizational level.
Hand level. Right. Or
So
even
there's the
teams level.
individual.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
Mm.
that's where,
Mm.
I live now at in teams level.
Yeah.
So who am I? We can say, who are we
Yeah.
as a team?
Mm.
Who are we as an organization? But
Mm.
that has multiple layers in that. That's why
Yeah.
we start at the individual, understanding who am I. And the next one is, where am I? Which is fascinating as the second question to that.
Mm.
Yeah, but go ahead. Yes, you wanted to say something.
Yeah. So, and I'm going to write those questions down as well while we're talking. So now I was thinking about the question, "Who am I?" It's
Mm.
important that we reflect on ourselves as a being, not on what we do. I think introspection, reflection, diving deeper into our emotional being and psychological being. I think from those lenses is where we should look at the question and then answer. And hence, I think the leader who responded, "I'm light and love," is a very powerful response to the question, because it's not about the leader's doing, it's about the leader's being. And yeah, that's a perfect example on how do you reflect on a question like this.
Yeah, that's
Mm,
such a.
mm,
I
mm,
love that you zeroed in on that. For me,
mm,
it took me by. It was a pleasant surprise to
mm.
hear that, and it took our conversation altogether to another level that was such a pleasure to engage in,
Right.
knowing that it's the being that's showing up. Most leaders in major organizations and corporates in general, they're
Mm.
preoccupied with doing,
Yeah.
meeting targets, numbers, and pleasing shareholders and boards and that. And
Mm,
when you start from being,
mm,
understanding who you are and how you show up, and
mm,
then what you need to do to impact your world with your being, there is greater fulfillment in that.
mm,
And you got to loosen your grip on identities that push you to doing more than
mm.
being.
So here is something that now running in my head. When you say loosen your identity, if you lose that, what do you pick up?
You have a shell, And many of us have ways to adjust and cope and find a way through the maze of how our world defines us.
Mm. Mm.
If I can share a quick anecdote, I was working with an executive who said to me, become a very good friend of mine, and said, when we grow up, we have a persona, this personality development, leadership maturity, all kinds of things around evolution of ego and development of ego and that. But I'm
Mm.
not talking about that. Just a much more basic, simpler understanding of who we are and who we become.
Mm.
That many people from different parts of the world, when you join the workplace, the modern so-called workplace, ideally you get maybe the Eastern one, the Japanese family atmosphere in the corporate. Then you go across to the Americas, where it's the individual mainly that
Mm.
shows up, and you must perform as an individual. You get rewarded as an individual. You get recognized as an individual. Those two polar ends or extremes. There's a whole lot in the middle
Mm.
where you need to find out who you are and how you show up.
Mm.
In my part of the world, it's more of understanding that as you evolve and grow up into who you are, you take on what you need to for you to show up more effectively, whatever roles you play. So what this
Mm.
friend of mine said is that when he grew up, it was all about the community and serving the greater good. When he got to
Mm.
the workplace, a Western company, he
Uh-huh.
learned very quickly that he needs to act alone as an individual and he had to let go of his community, communal, collective
Mm.
persona, which he identified with, and adopt a new personality, a person way of being an individual, which was to him an anathema to who he believed he was. Like, and he felt guilty every single time he spoke about I.
Mm.
And he used to say every time is we. And he was
Mm.
questioned on that. Who are you saying we? You're hiding. You need to show
Uh-huh.
up as an individual and tell us what you think. He says, but what we think, he says, no, 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 forget the we. Tell us what you alone think. He said, but I can't
Yeah.
think alone. I
Yeah.
represent, I'm part of, and I belong to, like, no, that doesn't matter. We want your individual view. And he
Yeah.
had to separate that. He had to let go of that part of himself that had shaped him until that point to show up as an individual executive.
Mm.
Now he's teaching other young executives how to embrace that and not lose yourself in the new
Mm.
identity of the global corporate persona.
Yeah, and I think that's how the corporates are these days. Wiring people to think and look at, and leaders, and I think that becomes the challenge one day. Then you become so eye focused that when you need to look at collective, you just don't have that kind of mindset anymore.
Yeah. And Harris, this is why I teach and work on Ubuntu, which
Hmm.
is a word in my language, Zulu language, that means I am because we are, and I
Hmm.
cannot be fully me if you cannot
Hmm.
be fully you.
Hmm.
Ubuntu, Ubuntu, Ubuntu. And
Hmm.
I've developed a concept called Ubuntu Intelligence, which is similar in a way to emotional intelligence, cultural intelligence, collective intelligence,
Hmm.
social intelligence, a combination of all those, but more closer affinity to recognizing the value and capacity of connecting with others to become the
Right.
best versions of ourselves together. That
Right.
for us to do that, we need to be aware of the other, aware of others as they are, and not the story we carry in our head, in our heart about how they should be. Because
Right.
there's so much narratives about others. So Ubuntu Intelligence.
Hmm.
And it comes from exactly that point you made around knowing that the world
Hmm.
will try and make you into something else. The thing is,
Hmm.
who are you, and how do you define
Hmm.
yourself and your role and the impact you want to see in the world
Hmm.
with this short lifespan that you've got?
So, Dumi, I'm going to come back to Ubuntu
Sure.
Intelligence in a moment, and I would like to dive deeper into that.
Yeah.
So, we said the 7 questions of self reflection is: one is who am
Yes.
I, the second is where am I.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
just
you. Thanks
unpack
for
for
the.
me.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Unpack a little bit about where am I? How do I answer that?
Right. Question one in the 7 self-reflection questions is, who am I? We've addressed that. Now,
Yeah.
question 2, self-reflection question number 2, or SRQ hashtag 2, is, where am I? What do you
Hmm.
mean in that? Where am I along my life's journey,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
towards living my actual purpose?
Hmm.
Where am I along the path to
Hmm.
fulfillment, or to fulfilling my mission in this
Hmm.
life? Where am I? Have I
Hmm.
taken a detour and done something else? Gotten a job where when I was supposed to start a business and change the world? What have I done with my life? So where am I along my life's journey? And that's the
Hmm.
core of it. And it's always fascinating when you talk to leaders and they say, I'm on the right path, I'm still there, but oh, I'm feeling stuck. I'm caught in this job, and it just feel like on a what you call that wheel that's spinning in one place. And I
Uh-huh.
don't see a way through that. I need to pause. I need to take a break. I need
Hmm.
to take a sabbatical and just step away and write and
Hmm.
reflect where I am, so that I find my mojo again, find my energy, find
Hmm.
my zone of effectiveness, for me to know that I'm doing something meaningful.
Hmm.
So this question takes us there. The third question after that. So
Hmm.
question 1, who am I? Question 2, where am I? Question 3, I call it the anchor question in many ways.
Hmm.
And it is, where am I going?
Hmm.
And this is a question that many people spend a lot of time on.
Hmm.
And it says, where am I going? And you answer it by looking at, what's my vision for my life, and
Hmm.
what's the purpose of my life. So vision
Hmm.
stroke purpose. Am I in alignment with my purpose? What
Hmm.
is my purpose? What's
Hmm.
my vision for my life? Am I still on that path, on that course to do that?
Hmm.
And it's very, very important to do some deep inner
Hmm.
introspection to really to find out. So when we introspect, we get to find ourselves and find the
Hmm.
purpose for which we're here. There are now over 8, possibly 8.5 billion or more people on
Hmm.
this planet, and there's only one Harris
Hmm.
like you, one out of the billions.
Right.
And the thing is, you've got to know that there's a reason you're here.
Hmm.
Find what that is and do it. You're doing it.
Hmm.
You're doing amazing work already. The thing is, what else do you still need to do to fulfill your mission?
Hmm.
How do you know? And this question helps us do that. Where am I headed? Where am I going?
Hmm.
Do we know where we're going, or we just rummaging through every day and we find out what happens?
Hmm.
It's living without purpose. So, and then number 4
Hmm.
is, how will I know I'm there? There
Hmm.
where I say I'm going in question number 3.
Hmm.
How will I know I'm there?
Hmm.
So a very interesting part to this one is, I will feel fulfilled. I will feel aligned. Um I will feel the joy of being who I desire to be, who I believe I'm
Hmm.
created to become. You notice that this is not about doing.
Hmm.
It's about that point you made earlier, Harris, about being.
Hmm.
That's a very important part, I believe, of the work that we have on this earth.
Hmm.
Who am I now? Who am I becoming? So who am I? Where am I? Where am I going? How will I
Hmm.
know I'm there where I say I'm going?
Hmm.
And then question 5 is,
Hmm.
what are my life's milestones and achievements?
Hmm.
Milestones and achievements. What are my life's milestones and achievements? And we look at this in 3 horizons.
Hmm.
In the work I do with leaders, and it's there in my book again. Sorry to keep referring to that. It's,
Hmm.
what what are these 3 horizons that will tell me that I've achieved some of the milestones and achievements that I set myself in my life? The 3 horizons are the past, That's the first
mm,
horizon. Understanding that what are those achievements I've already delivered, looking in the past, the horizon, just turning to look back, say, what have I done? I graduated, or I got married, or I did that. I traveled the world. I went to see this place in the world,
mm,
and I wrote a book. I wanted to write a book. I become financially independent, or whatever people are. These are things that people recently, when I worked with some leaders, these are things they recounted. That's the past. That's the first horizon. The second horizon
mm,
is the present. The present.
mm,
So past, present, and future. These are the three horizons. The
mhm,
present horizon is more like what are the milestones or achievements I'm working on right now that I'll
mm,
be proud to achieve and deliver on and say, this is, I've done this. It's a milestone I wanted to achieve in my life, and I've done it. What is that? Current, present. And then future ones that I have in mind, in my heart, in my whole body, that if I work on and deliver on, I will feel super proud that I've done this. This is what I wanted to do.
mm,
Very important to look at this one in those three horizons,
mm,
milestones and achievements. Self reflection question number 6
mhm,
is support system.
mm,
What is my support system? Not what was or what would I like to be. No, what
mm,
is my support system right now? It's more focusing in the current here and now.
mm,
And that could be prayer, it could be travel, it could be nature, it could be music, it could be meditation, it could be working out, could be running. For me, it includes reading, praying, gardening, quiet
mm,
times, a walk in the neighborhood with my wife. It's traveling, seeing different parts of the world. It nourishes me. So the question with support system is what nourishes me, or what picks me up when I need a pick me up? What lifts
mm,
me up when I'm down in the doldrums? What
mm,
is it that helps me get up in the morning and want to impact or change the world positively? What are those things that add value to my life? What are the things
mm,
that add life to my life? I'll
mm,
say that again. What is it in my life that adds life to my life?
mm,
What are those things that breathe life into my daily ways of being human? And the last one, self reflection question number 7, Harris, is what is my legacy and service to humanity?
mm,
And it's in first person. What is my legacy and service to humanity in the present tense? You can say what will be in future tense, looking ahead. Most people that engage with these already have had some kind of impact. What is my legacy and service to humanity? What will I be remembered for? What will I be known for? What
mm,
will future generations say? He or she was here and this is what he or she did or left behind. What is that?
mm,
Or is that just a waste of energy and oxygen and time? No such thing. There is a reason. This is why we need to go back to the anchor question. Where am I
mm,
going? Because that will tell you if you're going to have a legacy and service to humanity or not. These are the 7
mm,
self-reflection questions, SRQ, that, and there are other sets of exercises and questions that help us reflect on ourselves and find who we are. And
mm,
one of the bonus questions that I work with leaders is, and this is a common one in coaching, is if I had all the time, the money and energy in the world, what would I be doing with myself? Most
mm,
people say with my time or with my this. No, with myself. If I had all the money, energy, wisdom in the world, and influence, and network connection, and abilities and capacities, what would I be doing with myself? You got to
mm,
bring it to yourself and personalize it. It's quick to say, what will I be doing with my time? Nobody owns time. We have the same amount of time. What will I be doing with myself? What would
mm,
I be
It's
focusing on?
such a powerful question. And I'm still thinking about these 7 questions, and it seems like a whole coaching framework to coach self. I think one can pick them up like a ready reckoner, ready coaching guide or a framework. Pick this up at any time and answer these questions, and I think it feels very aligned. I mean, what I'm sensing right now is that you will feel very aligned, or at least you will feel where you are and you will know where you want to go.
Or you
It will
will
bring
feel
in that
challenged,
alignment. Yeah.
or you will feel challenged and feel so frustrated with yourself that you haven't done that work that you need to. And
Right.
this is from experience working with some leaders on this. Like, why I should have worked on this before. I never stopped to think, where am I
Hmm.
going? Because I think I know it. You have
Hmm.
it written down. Like, no, I know it. It's in my head.
Hmm.
When you write some things down, Harris, you and I know, Harris, when you put some things down, they get a life of their own. And
Hmm.
there's power in that. And when you
True.
answer these questions, when you write it down, doesn't matter you write it by hand or type it, something happens within you when you do that. These self-reflection questions.
Hmm. No, very powerful to me. I think interesting, easy and powerful. It's of course it takes some mindset to to answer these questions. You got to have that as a prerequisite. Um, but when you have it, I think it's very impactful. And let's go back to Ubuntu Intelligence. And I like what you said. It's about, I mean, it means I am because we are. And I think it brings in a sense of collective being and part of a larger system and whole.
Yeah.
Tell me, what is Ubuntu Intelligence? How do you define it?
There are a number of ways I could do that. And
Hmm.
one way to answer it is that Ubuntu Intelligence is living with awareness that I and myself, yourself, others, that we are in constant connection and interaction with others, whether we
Hmm.
recognize it or not. It's living with that awareness.
Hmm.
And it requires shifting or adjusting, tweaking our mindsets and
Hmm.
living more with our heart sets. I'll say that
Hmm.
again. Shifting from living in our mindset into our heart set and our
Hmm.
center of being, dropping from the head to the heart to the gut to the rest of the body into being, is living with heart sets that enable us to see the self in the other.
Hmm.
And most importantly, to feel genuine connection and
Hmm.
empathy and
Hmm.
compassion
Hmm.
and connection with other beings,
Hmm.
regardless of their external appearance, their geography, their I mean, geography is accident of geography. It doesn't define who you are.
Hmm.
So heart sets, Ubuntu Intelligence is living with heart sets. I could say that in a way that enable us to see the self in the other and to connect genuinely with
Hmm.
others. And
Hmm.
neuroscientists know this,
Hmm.
Harris. And there's a book, a very interesting book I read. I couldn't put it down. It's called "Your Body Is Your Brain" by what's her name? I forgot the Amanda Blake. Amanda Blake, Blake.
Yes. Yes, Amanda Blake. Yeah.
Your body is your brain, and that book shows. She talks about how there are more neurotransmissions or messages from the body to the brain or from the gut to the brain than there are from the brain to the body. In other
Hmm.
words, the body knows and the body shows and the body talks and the body
Hmm.
tells you. And we
Hmm.
listen to the brain more than we do who we need to listen to, the body and the whole being. And this is a very interesting part for me that when we tune into ourselves, we know. But part of Ubuntu Intelligence is it means that I know deep within me, Harris, that I diminish myself and become less than I can fully be when
Hmm.
I meaningfully or intentionally or unintentionally, directly, indirectly, or whether I want to or not, when I in a way contribute towards diminishing or restricting another human being
Hmm.
from becoming who they can fully become during their lifetime.
Hmm.
So, in other words, when you live with Ubuntu Intelligence, you co-create spaces that are safe enough for everyone to become who they can
Mm,
potentially become in their lives. That is
mm,
Ubuntu Intelligence. And
mm,
the opposite is really being emotionally Ubuntu standard
mm,
on. When we obstruct others from becoming who they can be, we rob not them, but all ourselves and all of humanity. The genius that can come through, the inventions and other things that would come through those others that we eliminate or limit or reduce, obstruct, restrict. Our work, this is why I love coaching, is
mm,
to help co-create spaces, Harris, where everyone can express the genius that comes
mm,
with their life.
mm,
This is
mm,
why I call coaching one of the most sacred practices or
mm,
professions or undertakings. Being a coach, to be there to hold the space for someone to showcase their gifts or reflect on their genius or who they are and who they're becoming or who they would want to become.
mm.
How sacred is that?
Yeah. I think that's a
So,
legacy. The last question as well.
yeah,
Uh,
beautifully connected, Harris. I love
mm,
that.
mm,
Exactly that. And that
mm,
speaks to your legacy and service to humanity right
mm,
there. And
mm,
Ubuntu is because it's the ability and
mm,
capacity to constantly recognize,
uh,
to see through all the nonsense we pile on ourselves and each other,
yeah.
to constantly recognize our inherent, our inborn, our natural interconnectedness,
Mm,
and not just with fellow humans, Harris, with
mm,
everything else along our life's journey and path. When we connect with everything, to and with everything, it's
mm.
that ability to live with awareness that everything is connected and that life itself is sustained and enriched through these interconnections that we may not even be aware of.
And
That's Ubuntu intelligence.
yeah, no, so interconnectedness, and we're talking about not just human, but everything.
Yeah.
And and tell me, how do you apply this, you know, the whole concept of Ubuntu intelligence when you're working with teams in organization?
Yeah, such a powerful, beautiful question. I always ask the team or team
Mm,
members, starting with the team leader,
mm,
what brings you together?
mm,
And in another way, in team coaching, we call it, what's the purpose of this team?
mm,
What makes you a team?
mm,
And when leaders understand that connection is a superpower in itself,
mm,
they start seeing that everyone on that team has a role to play. If you look
mm.
at any team sport, everyone has a part to play.
Yeah.
But in some of the best teams,
Mm,
the team members can play in different roles, different positions
mm,
in support of the team.
mm,
So the application of this is knowing that one, we've got each other's backs, and that having my colleagues back is in my best interests.
mm,
And that's the beginning of Ubuntu saying we are together in this, stronger
mm,
together. And the application is helping teams see this and
mm,
helping teams start to live that
mm,
that way.
mm,
The application is in one of things, in fact, at a team coaching session today with one team. And one of the things that they were working on is the word collaboration.
mm,
How do we collaborate? What do I need from you and from you and from you?
mm,
And one of them was talking about the chief financial officer in this team was saying, everyone talks to me and wants something from me because I need to manage the cash flow. I need to make sure that we don't expose the business by overspending.
uh,
And the engineer who works in the tech part of the business because they're involved in mining, it's like, I need to make sure that all machinery is working in good working order for safety underground.
mm,
And if I cut corners in that, in maintenance of machinery, because I didn't pay for the technician to go check because it was too costly. I'm risking lives. So, and they were talking about how they need each other to collaborate and work together to do that. And this is the direct practical application of the
mm,
value of Ubuntu. It looks basic and simple, but when it comes from understanding that we are in this together,
mm,
and that when we respect, respond to, and honor each other's strengths and gifts with what we bring to the table together around this team, we are better off that way than saying, I need to just cut costs. I don't care if you need to repair machines, find
mm,
another way, but I need to cut costs. That
mm,
actually impacts not just that team that
mm,
will be damaged or hurt by machinery not working underground, but the company's long-term sustainability is at risk. And then you can extrapolate it further beyond that. But it's understanding that everything is connected. And I do my part in the service of understanding that it's in the service of the greater good. It's a great way to start. So this is
mm,
why we need to live with Ubuntu Intelligence as our guide, almost
mm,
our inner compass in how we
mm,
set ourselves the course for becoming powerfully impactful, effective
mm,
fellow human beings.
mm, mm. Inner compass, I think, is an interesting word here, that you said, and I think that just helps us to align and go back to where are we heading together as a team. Uh, you know, because we've got listeners who are not just coaches and mentors and trainers, we do have people who just listen to learn more about themselves. And so, Dumi, if you were to give an advice to somebody who doesn't really know much but want to apply some of the techniques and apply them in their daily life, would you have an advice for them? How do you see things through Ubuntu Intelligence?
You see, Harris, we need another recording for this because I have so many things to share on that.
Yeah.
One thing I would say is what I work with called conscious engagement
Mm.
or conscious greeting.
Mm.
Where where and when does first contact with other beings start? Where is it start? It's when we meet someone for the first time,
Mm.
virtually online or in person.
Mm.
What's the first thing we do when we meet other people?
Mm.
We greet.
Yeah.
How do we greet?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
Many people just say hello, and some people just stick their hand in your face and wanting to shake your hand. Maybe in a different culture, we don't shake hands. Maybe we embrace. I was in Senegal and said, no, we just bump sides of heads in that. And it's okay. And so there's a way of encountering others
Uh,
that humanity needs to pay attention to.
mm.
I did a TEDx talk on this some years back, and I've developed tools on it. So to answer your question, direct advice I would give is greet fellow human beings in three ways.
Mm-hmm.
Greet consciously,
Mm.
greet intentionally,
Mm.
and greet mindfully.
Mm.
So greeting consciously means I'm aware that I'm greeting you. I don't just do a tick box, hi, hi, hello, hi, move on without
Mm.
even waiting to hear your response. That's
Mm.
unconscious greeting. That is a waste of your breath.
Yeah.
So greeting consciously meaning that I'm aware I'm greeting you.
Mm.
And then you bring the intentionality behind it. I intent is to establish a connection with you
Right.
and to get to know you.
Uh,
Greeting is powerful. One of the
yeah.
most powerful. Conscious greeting is a superpower.
Uh,
I'll say that again. Greeting consciously is a superpower in human engagement, in human connection, genuine,
mm.
authentic human connection.
Mm.
But when you greet consciously, intentionally, and mindfully, you are in this moment, mindfully in this moment. I'm greeting you. I'm paying attention to this very moment because this could be the beginning of,
Mm.
could be a marriage, could be a business partnership, business associate, it could be the fortunes of my business sit with you and your partners, associates, and that. But if I don't greet consciously, intentionally, mindfully, I may miss that opportunity because I'm stuck in that training of greeting is just a waste of time.
Mm.
It is not. One greeting, for example, in my language, when I greet, say "sawubona," which
Mm.
literally means I see you.
Mm.
And the gift in that, Harris, is I see you. What's the opposite of that? Like, I do not see you, you don't exist.
Yeah.
So if a greeting acknowledges and recognizes that you exist, I see you,
Yeah.
I connect with you. And the response to that greeting is, yes, I see you too. And how are you? And the responses get to the point where it says, I'm here. In other
Mm.
words, I exist.
Mm.
Ngikona, which in Zulu means I'm here.
Mm.
Or ngiyaphila, it means I'm alive. So
Yeah.
I'm here and I'm alive in responding to say, I see you.
Uh,
What profound gifting in that. You can work with this. I've done some work around finding out different greetings from around the world. I've been blown away every time I get to understand how people greet
yeah.
genuine, real, actual greetings.
Yeah. Yeah. If they're conscious, intentional, and mindful, they can be impactful.
Yeah.
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 Mm.
So to answer your question again, sorry, a tip I would give to you, greet strangers consciously because they are
Mm.
no strangers. As we know, someone has said before that strangers are just friends you haven't met yet. And
Yeah.
that's the work we need to do. We need to understand that these are friends, associates, partners we haven't established connection with yet. And the
Mhm.
conscious greeting will take us a long way towards
Mm.
making incredible connections with fellow
Mm.
human beings.
And I also see now connection when you're saying that greet consciously, intentionally, and mindfully is actually it's also the beginning of living with the awareness. That's the beginning of all of that, or connection and or interruption, whatever you can create there.
You're supposed to leave them to do their own work and not simplify it like that for them. The listener, that's exactly it. It's the beginning of living life with Ubuntu Intelligence.
Yeah.
Exactly what you just said. When you greet consciously, you're laying the foundation for
Hmm.
Ubuntu awareness, for Ubuntu Intelligence, for living a life infused with and informed
Hmm.
by Ubuntu Intelligence, which is
Hmm.
authentic, natural human
Hmm.
connection that sees not the gift of my skin wrapping and your skin wrapping what we come with. That's just the gift and responsible from ultraviolet light over time, over millennia. And we are one humanity.
Hmm.
It's we need to understand that, and we find that that's why we can be horrified when we do some things that harm and hurt fellow human beings. We see that unless we try and numb ourselves against that, but we know there's
Hmm.
something within us that says that's not right, that's not okay, that cannot continue. And very, very important for us as fellow human beings to transcend the superficial and learned ways of separating and disconnecting, which
Hmm.
are geography, race, and
Hmm.
ethnicity, religion. These are all human made
Yeah.
differences
Yeah.
for whatever purposes. At the
Hmm.
core of humanity, we know that we are one humanity.
Hmm.
And efforts to
True.
separate us do not work and will not work.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's about finding that, is living our lives with that inner knowing that we are, in fact,
Hmm.
extensions of each other.
Hmm.
That's
True.
the sacredness of humanity. That we like
Absolutely.
the easy route to separate and say, but you're different. You live here, you're there, you're there. The lie
Hmm.
of geography, of
Hmm.
separation.
Thousands of ways to divide. Mm. Yeah.
A million,
Yeah.
millions
Million.
of
Yeah.
ways to divide and
Mm.
separate.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Do me such an interesting conversation, such an interesting learning from you. I have last two questions for you. One is how can one get access to the book and purchase book Ubuntu Intelligence and Ubuntu Coaching? If is it available online and where is it available?
The book is available on Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
and it's also available with the publisher Knowledge Resources in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
They ship it around the world,
Mm-hmm.
and people can place orders there, or you can
Mm-hmm.
reach out to me directly, and I'll
Mm-hmm.
facilitate that and arrange that you get a
Mm-hmm.
copy. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm available to do the work with you individually and teams around the world. I do a lot of work virtually with teams around the
Mhm.
world. I
Mhm.
do a lot of in-house work in organizations, and I travel around the world to do that.
Mhm.
So this work needs to be done now. There's no point
Mhm.
waiting. We need to establish connection
Mhm.
authentically, genuinely with ourselves and our teams and people that we work with. And there are ways to do that that help us unleash the gifts in
Mhm.
everyone for the benefit of everyone, of
Mhm.
humanity as a whole. And I can share my email also. You can share my email with our
That's my
listeners.
second question. That
Yeah,
how one reaches out to you
yeah,
for more information.
yeah. Do me at
Mhm.
netactive.co.za. Do
Mhm.
me, DUMI,
Mhm.
at netactive is one word, net
Mhm.
like network active,
Mhm.
netactive.co.za. Do
Mhm.
me at netactive.co.za, or follow me on LinkedIn, which is Do Me
Mhm.
Magadlela PhD on LinkedIn. There are a number of
Mhm.
people with my same name and surname, but just
Mhm.
Do Me, my surname, PhD, and then you see that. And
So we're going to post the link of Amazon book link as well, so that it's
sure.
easy for people to access, and also your email address in our show notes for
Yeah.
everybody to be able to copy and then maybe contact you from there. Dumi, thank you so much once again for your time today. What a lovely learning through this conversation, and I'm sure our listeners will enjoy this conversation. Thanks again.
Thank you. And thank you for the work you do, Harris. And may you continue, may you get stronger and reach far, far into the world for the work that you do. We appreciate you and your team.
Thank you so much, Dumi.